Good morning everybody and welcome to our assembly. Now you can see that I'm in the garden today because our assembly theme for this week is all about the adventures in the garden, and you can see from the sky, if I change that and lift it up a bit, it's a lovely sunny day. So I've put my hat on because it's really important that even if you're in the garden and you're just at home, you put a bit of suntan lotion on, you make sure you cover up and protect from the sun as well. Okay, so I've got that bit out of the way. I've made sure I'm ready for my assembly and I'm in the garden. So I'm going to show you very quickly what my garden looks like. There we go. I've got the patio table. You can see you've got the chimney. You can see, maybe see the guinea pigs in the background. Turn back. There we go. So I've got lots of nice green space around and about. And while I'm doing this, I want you to have a listen as well and see if you can hear what's in the garden, because today we're going to be using the senses. So it's really, really important that you listen ever so carefully today. Okay, so everybody needs to be in a room where they're quiet, and you need to be paying lots of attention and making sure that you are listening really carefully, and just like normal, that you listen really carefully to mum and dad or whoever you're living with, and that you make sure you're doing as you're told straight away, so that you're listening to our assembly really carefully. Okay guys, right, so we're going to have a think about our assembly because it's so lovely, and we're going to think about being in the garden because it's such a nice time. The days are getting longer and the sun's shining, there's time to play outside. And lots of gardeners during April and March have been digging, pruning and sowing seeds, and in May, that's the month we're in now, we start to see some of those early summer flowers poking through the soil. So I'm going to show you some pictures of 4 different gardens, and I want you to have a think about what you might see and hear and smell. So first of all, go get a piece of paper so you can write these ideas down. Pause the video, go get your piece of paper and your pen or your pencil. Go. Okay. We've got those now. Brilliant. Right, well done. So first of all, I'm going to show you this picture. Okay, now this is a cottage garden. You might find it in a little English village. So I want you to imagine that you're in the garden. What do you like about it? Okay, what can you see, hear and smell? Okay, so we're using our senses. Have a think. Write those ideas down on your piece of paper and share them with your adults. Pause the video so you can share them. Well done. Okay, I bet you've all got fantastic ideas because I know how creative you are. And finally, have a think. How does it feel if you're lying on the grass just there in the middle of the garden with all those lovely flowers around? Think about the insects that might be buzzing around or the birds that you can hear in the trees. How does it make you feel? Okay. How does it make you feel? Right, let's have a look at the next one. Okay, are we ready? So we've got this one. Now this is an English garden, but you might need to go to a stately home or a castle to see something very formal like that. Now the Victorians really liked their formal gardens. So in the late 1800s, when Queen Victoria was around, there was a lot of gardens that were designed to be very symmetrical like this. They thought that symmetry was wonderful because they were controlling nature. So have a think about the English garden and pause the video and write down 2 things that you can see in this garden that you really like. Okay, go. Right, I'm going to tell you that I really like the fact there is a pond in the middle with the green bit, the plant growing in it, and if you look really closely here, that's called topiary, and that's where you take a bush and you prune it into a particular shape, and that looks like a bit like a duck, I think. I really like that one. Okay, so there we go. Next one is this one. Now this is a special flower garden, and it takes a lot of time and effort to make a flower bed look that beautiful and that pretty. And there's lots of different types of flowers, from the rudbeckia in the front to the bamboo in the back. Okay, and now tell me which is your, or write down on your piece of paper, which is your favourite colour plant. Okay, which one do you think? Have a really good close look at all the different colours in there. Which is your favourite colour? Because I think we've got pretty much every colour of the rainbow. I think my favourite is this orangey colour here. I love that one. I really, really like that. I think that's absolutely fab. Now, all of these gardens that we've seen so far are very different. There's lots of different things in there, lots of time and effort, and they're very different to the sorts of things that certainly that I've got in my garden. I'm going to show you somebody's back garden now. Some of our homes may have small back gardens. There may not be very much grass, may not be very much space to run around. So this has just got a bit of a path, a bit of gravel, and a bit of grass. Okay, so finally, what do you like about this garden? What do you like about this one? Okay, so I've got a question for you. I want you to get everybody in your family involved. I want you to look at all 4 pictures again. So we've got garden 1, then we've got garden 2, garden 3, and garden 4. So tell me, which of those 4 gardens would you like to have? Which one would you like to move and transplant into your back garden? I think if it was me personally, I'd go for this one because I'd have a bit of lawn, but then I'd have nice big flower beds, and I really like the climbing things around the house as well. So, well done, guys. Right, now the Bible tells us when God made man and woman, he put them in a beautiful garden because God knew that the garden is a really good place to unwind. And God made all the beautiful plants and flowers, and he knew that Adam and Eve, the first man and woman that he created, would enjoy the tall straight flowers and the small creeping flowers, the bright pink flowers and the purple and orange ones. He knew that together the flowers would make a gorgeous display, and he knew that Adam and Eve would love the perfume of the roses and lavender. He knew they'd need the shade of the big tall trees when it was sunny. He knew that Adam and Eve would be soothed by the gentle sound of the busy, buzzing bees. And God also knew they would enjoy tending the garden, just like all the keen gardeners today. Okay, so that's part of the story of the Bible from the book of Genesis, when Adam and Eve came onto the earth. So something else I want you to do today, because like with all of our Facebook assemblies, I've given you a little activity to do, and I want you to go back to something that we did right down at the start when the school first closed, and we were doing finger breathing. Okay, so today I want you to sit outside, and I want mum and dad and whoever else you live with to do it as well, and I want you to do your finger breathing. Remember, we breathe in, out, breathe in and out. And while you're doing your finger breathing, and I want you to do it a couple of times through, I want you to see if you can try your best to be in the present. Don't let your mind go wandering. If it does go wandering and you start thinking about what's for dinner or what's on the telly, that's okay. Bring it back to where you are and listen. And if you listen now, I can hear birds, lots of birds. I can hear traffic. I can hear people talking. And see if you can just enjoy being where you are. So let's try it together. Okay, now it's a different pace for me because my lungs are this big. Your lungs will be a bit smaller because you're a bit smaller than me. Okay, so my pace of finger breathing is different to your pace of finger breathing. Everybody does this on their own and they do it very differently. It's completely individual to you. So I'm going to breathe with me so you do it at the same time. Now, I want you to try that a few times, and while you're doing it, I want you to see if you can listen to the sounds in your garden, see if you can smell the smells in your garden, and sometimes when you do this sort of meditation, it helps you if you close your eyes, or you can focus on one particular thing. You might focus on just a patch of the grass, or you might focus on one flower or one leaf on a tree, and see if you can concentrate on that one thing all the way through. Okay? Now, there's a reason we're doing this project of Adventures in the Garden, because being in the garden is really, really good for your well-being. And I know that at home, you've got mums and dads who are trying their best to help you, But it's not quite the same as being in school with a teacher, because you're not with your mates, or your teachers explain things differently, or mums and dads might think, oh, why don't they get it straight away? So don't worry about it. Chill out. It's okay. When we come back to school, then we will help you to remember all the things that you can't remember, or we will help you to remember the next step, and we'll make sure that everybody feels okay about it. In the news at the moment, there's lots of talk about how we're going to come back to school, and whether or not different year groups are going to come back into school first, and we don't know quite what's going to happen yet. But when you do come back into school, we will be here and we will look after you, and we will make sure that when you come back into school, you will be safe and that everything will be okay. And it will be a bit funny, because we're not going to open for lots of people all at the same time. We're not going to open for all 300 children, and we're going to have special safety rules in school, so that there's no chance, or as little possible chance, of you catching the coronavirus as possible. And the safety rules are also for our teachers to stay safe as well, and that's important too. But whatever happens, all the adults in school will be here to look after you. We're all very much looking forward to seeing you when you come back into school. We can't wait to see you, because we've missed you. And whatever happens, if you're worried about your work, or if you're a bit bothered about what's going on, don't worry. It'll be okay. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. You might feel a little bit anxious to begin with, but as soon as you come back in, it'll be okay. So if you're struggling to write a story, doesn't matter. It'll be all right. We'll help you when we get back into school. If you found your maths really difficult and mum and dad do it a different way to your teacher and they can't explain how to do it, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem. If you've had some difficult times at home, and there's been arguments at home because people have been living together for a long time and have not been able to get out like you would normally do, it's okay. Everybody's in a similar situation, and you'll come into school and you'll be able to talk to the adults in school about it, and you'll be able to see your mates, and we'll do some activities in school as well. Okay, so keep going back to your finger breathing, guys. Sit in your garden, that's your task for today, and see if you can concentrate on something really lovely in your garden, and just give yourself a few minutes with your finger breathing. Out, in, out. And see if you can get all of the grown-ups in your house doing it as well. See if you get everybody joining in. Okay, right. So remember those things that I said. Don't worry about stuff. When we come back to school, and we don't know when that's going to be, but when we come back to school, or when you come back to school, we're here to look after you and to make sure that you can carry on learning. Okay? So have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the good weather. Make sure you wear a hat, and make sure you put suntan lotion on. Make sure you listen to mum and dad. I know, because sometimes you feel like mum and dad are nagging, but they're doing it so they can try and help you. Okay? It's not nagging. It's trying to look after you. All right. So listen to mum and dad and do as you're told. And I'll see you on Monday for next week's assembly. Bye-bye.